In brightest day, in blackest night, all other podcasts tremble in fright. Losers cower before the power. Oranges lust and blues you can trust. Indigos feel and white ones heal. Yellows scare and green ones dare. That sapphire love and black hands glove will rock your foundation without hesitation. Chad and Mark face evil's might. Respect their power, for they'll make you see the light.
Hey, LanternCast family, I'm Chad Bokelman.
I'm Mark Marble.
And this is the LanternCast.
Episode 213.
Which is our new series. We're not going to make it a spinoff because it's kind of a one-off thing, but I figured it's kind of like a special episode every now and then. We're calling this LanternCast Quarterly. So the premise behind the idea, there was eight, right? Yeah.
Yes.
There were 8 issues in the 90s, the early 90s, called Green Lantern Corps Quarterly. And we've kind of touched on these before in the past iterations of LanternCast. Like, I think there was like a Halloween episode where we covered one of these things. But, you know, we'd like to cover the whole series, and it'd kind of be dumb for us to, like, just skip the one issue we already did cover. And plus, it's Mark and me now, so we can do, you know, maybe put our spin on it or something. So, LanternCast Quarterly. We're basically going to cover an issue of Green Lantern Corps Quarterly once a quarter. You have no idea when in that 3-month span a quarterly issue is going to episode is going to be coming out, but it will be at some point. These are great stories with various lanterns being featured in them, so it's kind of like a cool thing for us to do every now and then as a departure from the regular issue reviews or whatever else we've got going. So, with that in mind, Mark, you said you were going to take the first storyline, right?
I'm going to do the intro and the first storyline, and I have to put a disclaimer on this to begin with, as opposed to our normal, our normal reviews in which I'm always using either a graphic novel or the hard copies. That for this review, I have a digital. We have all the Green Lantern Corps quarterlies on digital, so if there's a little bit more hesitation as I'm going through the story, that's probably going to be why, just because I have to click and go every single time you go to a next page, you do have to click, so you don't really get any 2-page spreads, and you may have to zoom in to see what's going on the screen. So just as a little bit of just a little bit of background.
I've got a disclaimer too, just real quick. Sorry guys, I was going to mention this earlier. As a bit of a disclaimer, if you hear typing in the background or anything, we are recording this on February 14th, Valentine's Day. The only reason I mention that is because if you were participating or if you saw, we were having a live tweet event at that time, which is what I'm doing right now. So we're live tweeting and stuff as we're recording, but our focus is primarily on the episode. But just so you know, if you hear typing in the background, that's what I'm doing.
Or Chad wants you to think that he's tweeting, one of the two. I'm tweeting.
I'm in the Triple X chat room.
That's right. He just covered himself for the entire episode.
Busty MILF 01?
That's right. I'll be right back. Chad, answer goes on for 10 minutes. I feel so much better now.
That's enough of that. Moving on.
Enough of that. So we begin on OA with a nice little splash page. The title of this episode, or this issue, is The Book of Everything. So it's Hal leading a bunch of Green Lanterns, including good old bowl cut Guy Gardner and John Stewart, Kilowog, among others. Nort is there too, God help us. But it won't be the last time we see Nort today. Nope. So Hal is kind of like setting them up, or setting us up for what we're going to see next by, prepare yourselves, and it's like nothing you've ever seen before. And then we get to the next page, and we see what he's taking them to is the Book of Oa. And, of course, it's kind of interesting because while Hal kind of gives a little background, how it basically covers everything the Guardians have ever done, everything they will do, along with the Green Lanterns. It covers, and other Guy and John kind of chime in about how it also covers Green Lanterns are people that are beings that never really became Green Lanterns that haven't happened yet, which of course we know from the Sodomiat prophecy and things like that as we go along. But one of the more interesting things is we find out that basically the language that it's written in, that technically speaking, that only the Guardians can really read it. That it's not one of those things where it's almost like you have to sync your brain up, be in the right, almost like a meditation kind of mode, to be in the right frame of mind. And then if you are, then you can kind of absorb the story that's basically coming from or emanating from the Book of Owa. Hal kind of, John being John kind of mentions that he's been trying to learn from the book, and Hal being Hal also points out that in the beginning when Tomar Ray kind of showed him this book, that he kind of like poo-pooed it and didn't think too much of it, but now that he's older and supposedly wiser, now he's kind of learned from his mistake. That while they're in kind of like a precursor to what's coming as one of the stories that's coming down the road, that's Chase-Alon, right? That Chase-Alon's kind of like quote unquote reading the book, and Kilowog's like looking over his shoulder, and he mentions Alan, what's his name? And then Hal realizes he's talking about Alan Scott, which is kind of surprises him a little, because of course Alan Scott was not really a core member, but still it fits the description of, basically the big blanket of Green Lanterns, and somebody who the core of the Guardians, I should say, might be interested in. So that was pretty much the preface to this issue. And then as, Guy says to Hal, what are we waiting for? Let's turn the page. And then we get to the first story in this, which is written by John Ostrander, art by Flint Henry, which is called Laying Down the Law. And we have he's kind of like, he's fishy looking, right? He's fishy looking.
Mutt's grandfather.
That's what he kind of looks like. Yeah, he is kind of fishy looking, this guy.
He's kind of like a space mermaid.
Yeah, that's true. He does have a tail, and he's got gills. So, let's just call him Pathivim, because he's got like 3 names: Pathivim, Seth, Otarik. So Pathivim it is. So he's checking out the planet Garnet, which is otherwise known as Hellhole, which does not, based on the name alone, gives you the reputation of this place. And as we also will find out quickly, that besides being a lawless planet, it also has a history of laying waste to any lawman or lawfish that comes to town to try to impose law. So Pathivim comes down. He points out that he's the new Green Lantern assigned to the sector, and from this moment on, the rule of law and justice exists on this planet. Of course, as soon as he says that, pretty much every thug under the sun starts taking shots at him. He seals himself in a green energy bubble, and of course, as we've seen with many other Green Lanterns before, sometimes you kind of get a little too cocky about your invulnerability. So as he's able to shield himself from all the other attacks, one particular big alien with big guns comes over at him, pumps a bunch of bullets at him, which quickly penetrate his shield and go into him. And then we get introduced to Trosk. Trosk is basically the anti-lawman in this area, and he only shoots pure Zolthanian gold bullets, which are not easy to find, but are quite effective, especially if you're going after Green Lanterns. So all too late, Pathivim realizes that he kind of was, his cockiness has kind of done him in, because he's been mortally wounded by the bullets. He sends his ring off to find a successor, and then Trost just completely obliterates him. The ring keeps searching. I said Garnet, right? That's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought I said, but for some reason I had a moment of doubt. So the ring keeps searching on Garnet, looking for a new or suitable bearer, and this is when we get our introduction to Jack T. Chance for the first time. As the ring comes to him, as he refers to it as the bauble, which he will refer to it as all throughout the story. He picks up the ring, he puts it on the ring. He puts it on his fingers, and of course, for a moment, he transforms into the standard Green Lantern uniform, which he despises immediately. The ring, which I kind of like. One of the things I do like about the story a great deal is the fact that we do get a lot of interaction, communication-wise, between the ring and its bearer, which we certainly don't get nearly as much of, I think, these days, other than status reports and things like that. There's no personal interaction between a bearer and its ring. So the ring brings Jack T. Chance up to snuff about the Guardians and how you've been selected, and the ring has to be renewed for 24 hours. Conveniently enough, doesn't bother giving him the primer on the yellow weakness, which you would think it would. Jack T. Chance tells the ring, that's great, that's fascinating. Now lose the Union suit. The ring informs him that you have to basically you need something. You have to identify yourself as a Green Lantern in some way. So he pretty much decides. He convinces the ring, okay, just give me a badge, right on my lapel. Just give me a Green Lantern symbol badge, and that'll be pretty much his uniform. So he can just wear his trench coat and everything else. So then Jack T. Chance is all too gung ho now to take advantage of having the ring to bring justice to this planet, or his kind of justice, basically. So he interrupts this card game. Once again, he kind of makes everybody realizes really quickly that he's got a badge on his shoulder, actually on his lapel, and he makes it clear that he's the law. He's the law now, and there's going to be changes. He takes out that card game, and as the little narrative tells us, and so the law came to Hellhole. Hellhole didn't take kindly to the law. The law didn't take care. The law was whooping the hell out of Hellhole and having a good time doing it. And you see a bunch of scenes of Jack, wiping out people who stood in his way. He kind of realized what's coming. That Trask still has to be dealt with, so he kind of is calling out Trask. Meanwhile, at the same time, he's wiping out a sniper. And then Trask does appear almost, on command. And they have an interesting little exchange when Trask goes, "I know you, boy. I know your folks. You come from bad stock. You've been a regular part of Hellhole. What made you turn?" Kind of like the opposite of our normal routine. It's like, what made you turn bad? It's like, what made you turn good? It's like, that was pretty funny. So Trask pretty much, at the end, Jack T. Chance kind of sums it up. It's like, it's more fun to beat up on the bad guys. Trask pulls the gun. Again, Jack T. Chance, again, not knowing everything about the ring, kind of has gets two little epiphanies there, or hard lessons. And number one, the ring won't kill on command, because that's what he first commands him to do, the ring to do. Smoke him, Bauble. And then, of course, the fact that because he's using gold bullets, that he is susceptible to gold bullets, and he gets shot in the shoulder. As soon as he gets shot, he kind of flies off, to regroup, and he's asking the ring what the hell is going on, and that's when the ring bothers to inform him that back using our favorite quote, the necessary impurity, that we have no effect over things that are yellow. It's like, it's like, and then he goes, why didn't you blow them away like I asked? And he goes, I'm sorry, but I'm not allowed to do that. And then Jack T. Chance is like, oh geez, like as any reader would probably go at this point who knew already about the core. It's like, now you tell me all these things. You could tell me about the 24-hour time limit and the recharge, but you can't give me the negatives, the other negatives. And he pretty much just takes matters into his own hands. He uses his gun and blows Trask's head, if not completely off. He certainly shoots one, blows off the top of his head. Jack goes, sometimes the old ways just work the best. As soon as he gets done killing Trask, the ring starts taking him to Oa, because the Guardians, summoned him. They're not really happy with what he did. I like the whole part about, slow down. I get warp sick. He's encased in this green energy bubble holding his mouth as he's about to hurl. He gets dropped at the Citadel to deal with the Guardians, and the Guardians point out, how displeased they are. The fact that, we know you killed that man in self-defense, but, but you could have avoided the situation. You need rigorous training. You need a long probation period. And Jack T. Chance, as soon as he hears that, he just plops the ring down on the floor of the Citadel and says, forget it. I'm not interested. It's like, if you're not going to let me clean up the area my way, then you can find somebody else. And he makes a very valid observation, which is, what you guys have done, you blue boys, as he refers to them, it's like, you've made a basic mistake. You sent a good man to clean up a bad sector, and good men are going to get killed there. What you need is a good bad man, someone as mean as nasty as the people he's going against, which basically is him. So he's trying to convince the Guardians that, hey, the only way to really clean up the sector is you need a badass pretty much to deal with a badass sector. And that's what you got in me. And the Guardians actually agree to this. And I like the little part at the end when the Guardians goes, "I hope we haven't just made one of our celebrated mistakes."
I saw that too, and I was like, well, at least they acknowledge their douchebags sometimes.
Back then, anyway. So with that, Jack, the ring's back in Jack's finger. He flies back off to his sector. He goes back. He lands back on Hellhole on Garnet. And pretty much in this time, all the criminals have kind of unified again to go against him. And Jack T. Chance, with his ring poised to deal with it, is like after he gets threatened, that sounds like a heap of fun. Let's get to it. And it's like the end for now. That was a pretty good story.
It was. Guy Gardner light.
Yeah, it is really difficult to go back and read a lot of Guy Gardner, or at least with the bowl cut now, because Guy Gardner certainly pre-Rebirth, but to be fair, he kind of started becoming less of a douche, I think, during Kyle's run. But anything going back to before, let's say Emerald Twilight, when you're dealing with bowl cut Guy, he's still pretty douchey, and it's really, really hard to read him now that we see the much more better drawn, better written, and better from the way he comes across is so much better Guy does now. So it's kind of hard sometimes to go back and remember how he used to be.
Well, I mean, Jack T. Chance is Guy Gardner light.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Before we get any further, we need something from you. We need a dramatic reading of the
the Oath. Yes. I'm sorry. I did kind of now that you said that, I completely. Let me give me 1 second, because I got 8,000 things. Let me go back. Let me go back to when he says the Oath. Yeah, because I was just thinking about that. When he did it, when he took the Oath, I was thinking based on our conversation about how the oaths get butchered before, that it is kind of funny. Now I just got what page was it on? Now that I'm looking for it
11.
quick as usual.
11 and 12 of 57.
Jeez.
The actual page number in the printed copy is it's page number 11. We're all reading this digitally, guys.
Yeah, that's like I said. This is one of those things where what is happening on the page when he just because I know it's here because I read.
It's right after he blows up the bar, the card game or whatever.
Oh yeah, I got it. It's a big page.
Yeah.
I probably glossed over because when I was doing the description, because that's the splash page of him in action taking out crooks left and right. All right. You who are wicked, evil, and mean, I'm the nastiest creep you've ever seen. Come one, come all, put up a fight. I'll pound your butts with Green Lantern's light. Yowza. Yowza. Sounds
Awesome.
like an old episode of Happy Days. It's
Hey!
Richie Cunningham, Green Lantern.
Oh, man.
And I'm not a big Jack T. Chance guy, but as a story, this was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. The only thing I gotta say about it, other than its quality, is the art was kind of distracting. The artist is Flint Henry, by the way. This was written by John. Did you say all this at the beginning?
Yeah, I think I did.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't do it for the prologue, which was of course Gerard Jones was the artist.
Right.
Was the writer, I mean,
which I like the Gerard Jones stuff a lot. I really have no issues at all with the Gerard Jones things. But the artist here really detailed. I mean, there is a lot of detail in all of this, and at some points it can get distracting. The colors, though, I think help make up for that because they're so bright and they're really cool looking.
He did the Spectre, didn't he? Didn't Ostrander do one of the Spectre series? I think he did.
Yeah. I don't know about I don't know what other things I've seen Flint Henry's work on though in terms of art. The Guardians kind of look weird.
Yeah, they do kind of look weird.
Like when Jack tosses his badge and ring up to them.
Yeah.
That one Guardian that's looking at the reader.
Yeah.
What is that face?
I can't believe he just did that.
Otherwise, yeah, it was a really cool story. I know that Jack T. Chance has been called Guy Gardner Light, but I don't really know if I see Guy Gardner doing this kind of stuff. So, there's that.
Maybe he's Guy Gardner with all the filters off.
Yeah.
It's because he can get away with doing more stuff because he's not bound by being a human or being somebody we have to automatically feel like akin to or have a relationship with, because especially in a world, in a universe of, or a setting of universal setting where there's so many aliens involved that you're going to gravitate towards humans. So maybe it's easier making somebody kind of making a Punisher character in space, not necessarily be a human. So I don't know, but I as an intro, it was pretty good. It's probably the best. It's probably the most interesting I found Jack T. Chance.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say about the story? I mean, I feel like I mean, I don't know what else is there to say.
No, I mean, we did. I'm glad you picked up on the fact that I didn't do the oath, which I had originally planned on focusing in on or going back to it. But I like Trask. He was kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the designs of a lot of these aliens are pretty cool. One of them kind of looks like a green Krang with a body. Krang from TMNT. Oh my god, there's a Batman symbol on one of these aliens. Where Jack gets the ring and then says, "Put a badge on me."
Yeah, I'm going back to that now.
There's that purple alien has a Batman symbol.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Oh, and he looks like Predator. He's like a little Predator. It looks like.
Kinda. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, because even look, he's even got the thing on his wrist.
The thing on his wrist. Oh yeah.
He's got his little built-in bomb thing on his wrist. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Oh, maybe this is around the time they did the Batman Predator miniseries.
Maybe. I never read that, so I don't know.
I think I have one of them. I may have the second one. I think I have the graphic novel of one of them.
I need to know. Hang on, I need to know this. Who is?
Yeah, because if you actually go on the same page and you go up before Jack deals with him, he's got the claw out from the thing too in his hand. Unfortunately, it looks like he's got friggin' cats impaled on it.
Oh, that's cool. Control F R. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so in the comic, there's a point where Jack gets shot, and he's diving for cover. There's a grave or a tombstone marked Arch Stanton. You see that?
Yes.
You know what that's a reference to?
Not off the top of my head.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, okay.
The treasure is marked in a grave called Arch Stanton. Arch Stanton.
Yeah, and there's even a shovel behind him when he's hiding behind the.
Yeah.
And you see the naked feet too, human feet, no less.
Yeah, because I mean, like I was saying, the art is so clear, and I was like, "There's a name on this. This name must mean something." Yeah, that's cool. Huh. Trying to see if there's anything else in here. No, well, there's something that says Sad Hill. What is Sad Hill?
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly too.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's the cemetery from Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So obviously a fan.
A big fan. Awesome. Okay. All right, so on to the next story. This one is And I Shall Shed My Light. This is a Helen Scott story. Roger Stern is the writer. Dusty Abel is the penciler. Couldn't tell if that was an R or B. Steve Mitchell is the inker. Bob Lapin was the letterer. Anthony Tollin was the colorist, and Kevin Dooley is the editor. And a nice little credit there. Green Lantern created by Bill Finger and Martin Nodell. We start off with a couple of Army, military police driving across a bridge. And because this is an Alan Scott story, the bridge explodes, and these guys are falling, and then they get caught by none other than Green Lantern. One of the guys says it's Green Lantern. The other guy says, doesn't look like any Green Lantern I've ever seen. But one of them says, no, he's the first one. My great-uncle Hank used to tell me about him. Alan's like, well, how about that? Somebody remembered. So he puts up a bridge out sign and then asks these military police where they were headed. And they say some neo-Nazis raided their munitions depot, and they've got away with a lot of ordnance, so we were going after them. So Alan says, I'm going to fly up ahead and see if I can spot them. Well, throughout this whole story, there's a recap of basically Alan's origin. He was a contractor that won the bid to build a bridge by the government. The opposing contractor sabotaged it, and the train went down on the bridge. Everybody died except Alan. And hopefully you guys know the story. Alan got the power of the lantern and blah, blah, blah. Hopefully you know. Goes and confronts the competing contractor named Decker, gets him to confess, sign a signature. It's too much for him. He has a heart attack and dies. Alan then recalls a couple of instances in which he did a couple of things. He talks about a couple of them. I don't know off the top of my head because I haven't read a lot of Golden Age Alan Scott, although I do have those two trades, so maybe I should. He recaps something called The Strange Case of the Cars from the Future, and then he talks about agents of Hitler's Third Reich, the Bundists, the Saboteurs, the world had no shortage of evil. He mentions a couple things. Then he talks about how the JSA went up against someone called the Shadow Man and Carcool. So there's a couple of references in there. I know those are references to past stories, but those are the names. If you guys want to look those up, I'll be looking them up here in a second myself. He's lost in thought. He catches up with these neo-Nazis. They start shooting at him. Of course, he's invulnerable. They say, all right, scatter. He can't catch us all at once, which he does, of course, with his ring. He says, well, you guys aren't smart enough to be pulling this off. Well, who's the man behind it? Well, we cut to an aerial view of this house where, the bosses are, where's the truck? Where's the truck? Where's the truck? Alan drops it on top of the roof into the house and, takes everybody down. One of them almost gets him with the handle of an axe because, of course, Alan's ring has a weakness to wood. Yes, bring on the jokes. He sees the neo-Nazis. He's paraphernalia. He sees a flag. He lights it on fire. The news is covering this. He comes home, and his wife is there, and she walks in on him recharging. If you know what I mean.
Don't come in while I'm recharging.
So she comes in while he's recharging, and she's talking about things, and he's telling her about the Nazis. Sorry, I wasn't here this morning. It was on the news, and he says she says, don't worry about it. She says basically, there's still a crying need for a Green Lantern to shed his light over dark evil, and as long as there is, I don't mind sharing you with the world. And then it says, follow the adventures of Alan Scott Green Lantern in every issue of Green Lantern Corps Quarterly, which is yet another reason why I wanted to do this series. We need some Alan Scott pretty badly on this show.
Alan Scott.
Yeah,
Classic Alan Scott.
Classic Alan Scott.
Not New 52 Alan Scott.
I've been on a Golden Age kick lately. I keep going to my LCS because I have the two trades of the archive editions of the Golden Age Alan Scott. They only ever put out two, and I want the two trades of the Golden Age Jay Garrick, but they only have Volume 2, and I keep waiting for them to get Volume 1 in. So I've been on a bit of a Golden Age kick lately. But anyways, what'd you think?
I thought it was a pretty good story. I mean, I like Alan Scott. I do like reading Alan Scott stuff. So I kind of figured even before you got into the story, they were going to give you the requisite origin, which I don't mind because, like, again, I basically know that the basics of Alan Scott's origin, but I don't know all the every single beat by beat detail of it. So I thought so I didn't mind that. The skinheads onto themselves seem like a minor thread.
Yeah,
so
Alan versus non-powered beings. Yeah.
Even though if you look at the way he's drawn, even though they do a decent job of covering that up while he's in action, but once he gets home, they really play kind of almost instantaneously. He kind of like becomes like the elderly Alan Scott.
Yeah.
or at least the weathered Alan Scott. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I don't want to say I thoroughly enjoyed the art, but I didn't dislike it either.
Seemed appropriate for the story and
Yeah.
for the character, I think.
If you guys notice, I did some custom image for this episode. When you guys start listening to it, you'll see in the background in black and white, faded black and white, it's kind of hard to see page number 24, where it recaps the JSA stuff. I really like that recap page. Out of all the pages in the entire issue, I really like this page. Like, if I could have this page as original artwork, that would be awesome. The only thing I find odd about that page, are you looking at it?
Oh, the recap page?
Well, yeah, the page number 24.
Yes, but the huge man in the black lab coat looks like it's holding everybody by his hands.
Yeah. This is obviously classic JSA. You've got that looks like Starman, Spectre, Alan Scott. That's Sandman. I guess that's Our Man down there between the Shadow Guy's legs.
I think so.
It's either Our Man or Adam. Then there's Johnny Thunder, Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate looks cool. Hawkman, Hawkgirl, and then of course Alan. But I don't know who the chick is. Is that Alan's wife?
That's what my first thought was. Let's skip to the end of it. But
I know the JSA had a secretary, but I don't know. Either way, the only thing that looks weird on this entire panel right here is it looks like the chick is like a Barbie doll.
Yeah.
She's being held like a doll. But yeah, the strange case of the cars from the future. I'm going to see what issue is that from. You talk about this. Tell me what you thought.
The issue or the page?
No, the action. Well, the story
as a whole.
Yeah.
I think it was very good as a reintroduction, if you will, of Alan Scott, because I think obviously during that time Alan Scott he didn't have a huge presence, which is probably one of the reasons why they wanted to make Alan Scott, if you will, the most consistent part or the only ongoing real feature of the quarterly comic. People know that pretty much every single time you're going to get one of these issues, you'll at least get it. Yeah, he's going to be the linchpin, the glue that holds the quarterly together. That he's going to be the character that pretty much everybody may know, even if they don't, even if he's a little bit beyond their time, but they know of him. That he's by somebody, and he's human, so it makes sense that he'd be the one that you could relate to, and look forward to seeing more adventures of. So I thought from a narrative point of view, I thought that made sense. I like the artwork too. I think it is, he does, Alan Scott, I think, does come across as being too skinny sometimes, but that's not. Once you realize that, especially at the end when he is kind of, the weathered older Alan Scott, that it makes a little more sense. But like I said, the actual threat he was dealing with seemed relatively minor. They'd have to occasionally throw in give the guy the wooden axe handle, just because if not for anything with wood, it wouldn't really be a problem,
Right.
So just like they did in the beginning when they were recapping his origin, like he gets clocked, he gets clocked over the head with a piece of teak or whatever, and that's about the only thing that hurts some bullets, and everything else won't stop him. But
yeah, I'm not finding anything about the strange case of the cars from the future. I'm on comics.org going through the All-American Comics cover issues just to see if there's anything in here from the Golden Age that might might have something to do with it. But yeah, it was a cool story. I think that because of Alan Scott's history and because of this particular comic, Green Lantern fans might know who he is, but they maybe don't have that personal connection. So I think the point of this was just to have this story be a recap of his origin and have the things he's dealing with kind of mirror his origin in a way.
Right.
Yeah. So there's that, but it's definitely it's pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, one of the things I wanted to note, I wanted to say, I was really paying hard attention to that to the recap of his origin. They didn't change a thing. I mean, I know that it's more of a modern thing for there to be like minor retcons and stuff like that, but there is not a single retcon in this whole thing. In the recap of his origin, so that's pretty cool.
That's true. Like you said, I think back in that time frame, they were a little more detail oriented as far as trying to keep things consistent. It wasn't if something was screwed up, it probably was legitimately a mistake. As just I thought this was this way and I wrote it wrong or whatever, as opposed to just kind of like either not doing research or not going by memory or going by memory and just not even not even necessarily caring as much if you're kind of like this is the basic origin. Doesn't really matter if I tweak this or that. So that was a nice touch. Excuse me.
Yeah, well, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not gonna waste my time going through all these cover issues. I'm sure it's something. And the only other thing I was gonna look up was Ian Carcool. I got
1941. He goes back to 1941.
Oh, okay.
More Fun Comics, number 69. That was his first appearance. I guess he was a foe of Dr. Fate.
Huh.
And then he became a recurring foe of the All-Star Squadron and the Justice Society, beginning in All-Star Squadron Annual number 3.
Okay, so that must be where that's from, because the only problem though is there's no All-Star Squadron members here in this image. This is all JSA. All-Star Squadron would have been like Firebrand and all of that.
I'm trying to see if we have any get real good pictures of this guy. Let's see. On the DCU guide, let's see. It says, Carcool, a scientist in the 1940s, discovered a device which could turn people into living shadows. So yes, that must be him. He used it on other people until encountering the sorcerer Dr. Fate, when he used it on himself to make it harder for Fate to harm him. However, when the Doctor destroyed the device, Carcool was trapped as a living shadow, in which form he battled various mystical heroes before being defeated by the Justice Society. His shadow form exploded and bathed them in energy, which kept them unnaturally young for many years, and also caused Alan Scott's son, Obsidian, to grow up with shadow powers. For several decades, Carcool was lost in the shadow realm until he began influencing others who accessed this realm, including Obsidian, who finally released him, only to slay him in cold blood shortly later.
So he has a tie-in with Obsidian's origin. That's cool.
Yep, and the JSA staying young.
Yeah, wow.
That's pretty cool.
Good
That's
info.
good to know. Yeah, that's cool.
All right, you want to take the next story?
No, but I will.
And why don't you want to?
I don't know. Maybe because it's Nort. Even a Chip story might be better. All right, so this story is called Neither a Lender Nor a Borrower Be. Oh, Nort. So Scott Lobdell, he's the writer?
Scott Lobdell, Joe Staten, and I don't know about Smith Tollin.
Yeah, because they just give you the last names.
Kevin Dooley, editor.
Yes, Kevin Dooley is a given because he's the editor. All right, so that's a meteor or an asteroid or something following poor Nort in space. So you have Nort being Nort going, I should have paid attention to the directions the Guardians gave me. It's not my fault. All I see are those big blue foreheads, and I worry about my own receding fur line. Oh, God, this is going to be a long story. So Nort's out in space. He's trying, he was celebrating the start of the new Green Lantern Corps, which started in Green Lantern Volume 3, number 24. So all Nort's trying to do, he's trying to get home. He's trying to get back to Earth anyway. So he's being chased by the meteor. He creates this giant green slingshot to try to shoot him to Earth. Don't spare the G-force, as he tells his ring, or Ringo, as he refers to his ring. So he gets shot into space. He goes, conveniently enough, as he mentions how his whole life passes before his eyes, we kind of get a really quick, and probably with Nort about as quick, that's already more time than we want, a recap of his origin, how he's a lowly son of the most powerful man on Ganut. Or maybe just Newt, since he's Nort, so maybe it's just Newt. Which would make sense. And then there's Uncle Newton giving him a bogus power ring. He joined the Justice League still having a fake power ring, but then he slugged it out with a fake Sinestro that earned him a real ring. He goes, "That's it, my whole life? I demand a refund." As do we,
do
Nort.
too.
As do we. So Nort he tells Ringo over there to slow him down as he keeps getting closer and closer to Earth. And he kind of realizes that, this doesn't, that his ring supposedly doesn't have a mind of its own. I guess that's the difference between a sentient being like me and a slab of metal. It's up to me to use my willpower, which is quite interesting because you have a different relationship between Nort and his ring. Clearly, and even Jack T. Chance and his. He's like, I gotta slow down. It's gonna be okay. Boom. He ends up crashing into an alley. He finds pretty much, which is kind of interesting. It seems like all his possessions are like thrown out in the alley. He finds his food bowl. It's like he's got the flea collar that Ice got him. It's like, well, one of my 3 birthdays last year. One of the advantages of celebrating in doggy years. I like this one. He finds the certificate from his tenure at Captain Strongheart's Obedience School, or as he refers to it, even my certificate to that exclusive prep school that John Jones insisted I attend. It's like, unless the maid has been working overtime, this isn't my room. So all this stuff is thrown outside the dumpster. We cut across the street. First, I almost thought that was a guy. When I saw that, the guy with the red hair.
Oh yeah.
In the warrior-like armor. It's like basically, the three guys in a florist truck who are designed mega suits, and I guess they're going to try to impress the Justice League to try to get in. So he saw Nort outside. They must have abandoned. He must have abandoned all my stuff. They thought, I wasn't coming back. Then of course, Nort being Nort, he hears voices coming inside about good riddance. It's like he's been nothing but trouble since the day his flea-ridden hide showed up on her doorstep. And it's like, and he doesn't quite realize he's just listening to a TV show or a movie coming from the TV in the apartment outside. So Nort pretty much feels like nobody likes me, everybody hates me. I'm going to the garden to eat worms. It's like, I wonder if I'm young enough to join the Teen Titans. I figured you'd appreciate that. So he's carrying his empty Nort ball, and somebody calls to him, "Hey, Rover, if you're not going to finish that chow, how about sharing the wealth?" And I assume she's homeless, right?
Yes.
She's some homeless blonde chick who kind of reminded me of Ice at first. That she's a saxophone player. There actually was food left over in his bowl, so he actually gives her the dog bowl to start picking at. And they have an introduction, and Nort kind of asks her, like, "Do you have any experience as a hero?" And he goes, "No." It's like, "Great. How do you like to be my sidekick?" It's like, "Just until your next gig." And it's like, okay, that sounds like a good team. Not really, but to them it might. Then of course, just at that moment, Nort gets blasted by the you gotta love this name, the Trio of Greatness. Kind of looking like a poor man's version of like Rom Space Knight over there, other than the faceplates showing their human faces. It's identical armor, all in gold. So it's like, we're here to take our rightful place amongst the Justice League. And it's like, hey, they were overcrowded. They even threw my stuff into the dumpster. So Nort kind of, it's like, Nort goes, talks to he calls his friend there, Sax Girl. Let's not play, that can be a joke real easy, but we're not going to go there. It's like, leave Sax Girl alone, as he leaps into action wearing I love the fact that his ring is like that whole, almost like a brass knuckle thing on his paw. It's like, if you girls are going to act like poop, I'm going to treat you like poop. And he basically has a big scooper and he scoops them up in, which of course doesn't last very long because of course they're wearing gold armor and he's using green energy. And of course then he has to announce to the world because he's Nord. It's like, oh, I forgot the ring doesn't work on the color yellow. Nice. Make a note, boys. When you expositize, do it to yourself. Which is a valuable lesson to you heroes out there. It's kind of like the villain going through the talk about, this is my master plan, before you've done it. So they proceed to keep kicking, Nort's butt all over the place, calling him Doggy Howser, which was kind of a nice touch. It's like, so Doggy Howser, how about a game of kick the can? And we'll start with his. And they start kicking the crap out of Nort. They really started doing a number on Nort, and Nort's just thinking, gosh, this is like Guy's Halloween party all over again. But put their attention on me, Sax Girl have a chance to escape. Of course, she actually shows or earns her keep there by going, Nort, that ring of yours can pretty much do anything, right? It's like, be a guy, which is kind of funny, and form a mega version of this from my sax. So if she uses her sax, green energy comes out of the sax, and she uses that pretty much to just blindside the trio of greatness from behind, knocking them out. So in a way, she'd be a better Green Lantern than Nort, which doesn't surprise us. Nort goes, cool, you did it. You saved us both. He goes, I couldn't have done it without you, Mr. How are we going to even pronounce that? Mr. N? That's not a great abbreviation when his name begins with a GN and the G is silent.
Well,
it's like,
thanks, Biggin, I guess.
Yeah, Megan. Yeah, if you put it all together, you could do Megan. She goes, I think we make a pretty good team, partner. It's like, and Nort goes, you really think I should have hit them harder? I said we make a good team. Nort goes, ice cream, sure, why not? And the dreaded, and so it begins.
So what'd you
that was
think?
Painful. I guess for a Nort story, we can't, beggars can't be choosers. But I don't know. It does reinforce why Nort's kind of a joke, though. But even though he is focusing the power into the sax, the point still is she does kind of prove herself to be a little slightly more effective with using green energy than he is. So,
I think it's funny that the sound waves short out their suits.
You get the zzz, all the the snaps and the zits and the frazits and all these to indicate that it's like it's frying their circuitry or whatever. So that's kind of interesting. But the artwork was so.
Yeah.
It doesn't look so bad on Nord himself, but with the other characters, her head seems kind of weird.
Definitely good though to have Joe Staton though.
Yeah, absolutely. Good old Nord.
Captain Strongheart's Obedience School.
That's a classic. The prep school, the fancy prep school that John wanted me to go to. It's an obedience school. But I guess it's that whole perception thing, looking at the world through your own rose-colored glasses.
I like how he's dodging these meteors and he's like, I gotta get out of the way. Like, go left, right,
yeah,
up, down. Nobody cares. Just stop going in front of it.
Yeah, like in Prometheus running in front of the ship as it's falling. It's like, go to the side.
Oh man.
Oh man.
All right, Aricia.
Sure.
All right, I'll do Aricia.
I'm sure you would.
Gross. Plotted by Gerard Jones, dialogued by Will Jacobs, penciled by Tim Hamilton, inked by Gary Yap.
Yep.
Lettered by Albert de Guzman, colored by Anthony Tollin, and again edited by Kevin Dooley. Whatever happened to Aricia? And it just says here, last time we saw Aricia, she was in the defunct Green Lantern Corps headquarters, which destroyed by a playful knockdown drag-out fight between Guy and Kilowog, was about to fall on her head. See JLA number 33. She's in here. She's like, I gotta get out. She dives out. She gets knocked in the head. She comes unconscious. She comes to. She's sort of amnesiac. Whatever.
She's got amnesia, people.
There you go. She's like, well, who am I? Oh, yeah. And then we go into kind of a recap of her origin. She became a Green Lantern. She had a crush on Hal. Hal wouldn't take notice of her, so she used her ring to grow her body to an adult size. Hal then took notice of her, but before too long, she became aware that she may look like an adult, but she still acts like a kid, so she kind of went nuts and left Hal, became a model on Earth, and then as she's thinking about all this, she gets in a car accident, which kind of furthers her amnesic state. Her agent wakes her up and has her come to, and she's like, well, who are you? I don't know you. I'm the guy who does everything for you. Ain't I the guy who set you up on a date with Luke Perry? Think of the publicity. She says, no, I can't do that. I don't work for you. I'm only 13. Say what? And then she runs out of the hospital screaming, I'm only 13. I'm only 13. Please won't somebody help me? I need my mom. I need my boyfriend. I need Hal.
More jail time for Hal.
That's right. And then, of course, all this is being viewed, so kind of by the Green Lantern Corps looking at the Book of Oa, Kilowog says, oh, geez, what have we done to the poor kid? And then Guy goes, so what are we supposed to do about it? And Hal goes, I'll tell you. I'll try to find her when I get back to Earth. And then Guy goes, when you get back to Earth, and John says, not in front of the recruits. Go to the next story, Hal.
Nothing to see here, people. Move on.
Turn the page. It's funny. What do you think of that?
It was a cute little throwaway story.
It was. I mean, I guess we can't really blame them for doing for this creepy ass story. But I mean, because they didn't make it up. They're working with what they have. This creepy ass backstory is what they have.
No, and I guess that they clearly were trying to bring her at least back into the fray somewhat. So I guess this was their way of kind of picking up where they left off with the Guy Kilowog fight, and then kind of filling in the blanks, and the blanks aren't too pretty.
The art, it's okay. Aricia is supposed to look super sexy, but there are times where she's got like an old woman face. Like she looks fine on the cover of that magazine.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And the bikini picture.
Yeah, but like the very previous panel, she looks creepy as all hell.
Yeah. Well, I think that's supposed to be because she was nuts in that panel.
Yeah, I guess.
Remember, no wonder I cracked up and left him. The strain of pretending was too much, and that was and that's the her dialogue or her thought balloon, if you will, in that panel. So that's probably why she kind of looks so. Because is she supposed to be crying? It looks like she's supposed to be crying. Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, she definitely looks good on the magazine cover.
Yeah, not much to say about it. Your turn?
Wow, even shorter than the Nord story.
Well, there's not a lot here.
I know, I'm only kidding.
This is a let's see. It's 1, 3, barely 6 because you have the 3 panels with the Green Lantern Corps. So barely 6 pages of this story, and most of it's a recap of her origin. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Not much there. She basically forgets what's going on. It's a recap of her origin. She gets in an accident. She forgets who she is. Oh, she kind of knows who she is. She's just, I guess she's forgetting some things, so.
Yeah, it's like she has probably partial memory recall.
Yeah.
But not all. So.
All right, your turn.
All right, it's an interesting story. This one isn't particularly long either, but we get a little intro about how beyond the rim of the Owens influence, there are worlds in which the light. I'm assuming also light light's supposed to work. I think on multiple levels here, including the Guardian's light, but just light as in just enlightenment too. Haven't reached, and they worlds. There's also worlds not dark. Worlds darkened not by the absence of suns, but by shades of ignorance. And basically, we're talking about worlds, who basically have only mastered one kind of craft, and that's warfare. And we cut to, we see, a planet engaged in warfare. We have the main character of our story, who we're introduced to by name shortly thereafter. But we see I like the artwork on this page though. With the fires burning and the green and yellow, it actually reminds me. I think it was in the old like Son of Origins, a Marvel Comics graphic novel when they had I think they were introducing the Watcher. I think there was similar artwork in that when the two planets were nuking each other.
See, I have that. I have Marvel Origins, Son of Origins. I have all of those Fireside books. Never once read them. I was trying to sell them on eBay, but no one would buy them. So
I remember I don't think I got both, but I think I got the original one when I was sick in the hospital. I think I got it like it might have been a tonsillectomy or something. I think my father got it for me. So I like the first one, but the first one dealt with more A-tier characters. The second book had X-Men and the Silver Surfer, I think, and it had. So yes, it was in. But that's that scene. If you do flip through I think the Watcher story, I think you'll see that's it's very similar in artwork. So this planet's being ravaged by war. We see the reason why there was so much green in the sky is basically because there was something in the air coming from another world that had been shot down. Shalandra is our main character here. They're all happy. Oh my God! It's from another world. We shut it down, and it's like a war with the other side of this world is bad enough. We don't want to be, we don't need alien invaders. And she points out, actually, what if they came in peace? What if they came to help us and we shot it down? And the response is, nothing can help us, Shalandra. The other side is evil. This war must go on. Shalandra doesn't really accept this. She kind of goes into the death zone. She sets off alone to kind of find out what was shot down. And she basically stumbles upon do you think it's more squid? Is it more spider-like to you or more squid-like? Or a combination thereof? It looks very similar. It's almost more spider-like with the eyes, but it's I don't know. It's kind of cross between.
Its body looks like a cross between a roach and a roly-poly, but it's got long, spindly legs like tentacles.
Right.
Yeah.
It's weird. So Shalandra stumbles upon. First, he was encased, in a sphere of green energy to protect him from the attack and the explosion. Shalandra's asking him, do you need help? And the Green Lantern responds, "No, I possess enough power to protect myself, but I've completed my journey as estimated just in time. Just within this millennial span of my life. So pretty much, he didn't get killed in the crash, but his lifespan's about to end." He points out, to complete my mission, I must only locate the one individual worthy to serve the Guardian as a guardian protector of this new, in quotes, because obviously it indicates it kind of was just discovered or recognized sector of space. Shalandra's kind of curious about how he's going to choose, that worthy individual, and he kind of points out the choice was already made when you came alone to find me. Shalandra Thane is her full name. It's like, I'm dying. There's much you must learn. And then we kind of see the transition from him being Green Lantern to her being Green Lantern off panel because she's leaping. Next scene, we see the war continuing on this planet with a green streak of energy coming towards the combatants. And it's Shalandra in Green Lantern garb. She puts up a green wall between the two cores of tanks that are coming at each other. And she adds that this is the power that she has. And then now with the coming of light, it is time to look for life, not death. Nobody's really buying it. The two sides can still want to go at each other. And if destruction be our destiny, why resist it? And she says, well, because I say so. There is other life out there. There is hope, and I've seen and been blessed by it. Had we not wasted so much time and effort destroying this world, by now we could have taken our place amongst the stars. And the blue side of this conflict, the blue armor wearing aliens, or they're natives but aliens to us. It must be true. What else could she have gained? Where else, I should say, could she have gained such miraculous power? If it is true, then she is too late. I have just been informed the missiles have been launched, and basically we have a huge nuclear missile launch from the planet, and unfortunately for her, she is unable and or inexperienced enough partially to be able to save this planet, even if there was a way to do it. So she becomes the sole survivor of this planet. She points on to get to a splash page where the artwork is kind of weird on the splash page, at least of her. But the monologue that she has is pretty interesting. That it was their destiny, but not mine. For I have been chosen to guard and protect an entire sector of space, and now I must reach some other world, truly in time, to teach them the destiny I have learned. Perhaps a light will be shut down on that world too, and if that is my destiny, then perhaps even in the killing they will learn. And then she proceeds to give the Green Lantern's oath. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a bad story.
Well, you want to do the wrap-up page?
Sure, I'll do the wrap-up page.
Yeah.
We go back to Owa, where they're kind of reading / absorbing stories from the book, and we hear, I think that's enough for now. That Hal says we all have had hard jobs. We all have hard jobs ahead of us. We have to rebuild the core. There's recruits. As Kilowog points out, I got to train all these greenies. For you veterans, there's rust to work off, and changing sectors to rediscover. And for you, John, there's the strangest job in the strangest place, Owa itself, which is referring to Mosaic 1, which was right on sale at the time this issue came out. Guy and Hal kind of have a foreshadowing of the throwdown they're going to have, which is in Green Lantern 25 and Guy Gardner #1, all of which were coming out in the next couple of weeks, as they were going to determine which one of the two of them was going to be Green Lantern of Earth. And Hal throws as a closing, it's like, it's all part of being a Green Lantern. If you ever find yourself wondering what being a Green Lantern means, just come back here and check the book. And then we have the coming attractions, next issue, more Alan Scott, more Nort, God help us, more Green Lantern, and the debut of the history of Sector 2814, all in just 3 measly months.
And that's when we'll be giving it to you guys.
We'll be giving it to you in 3 months.
That's right. Well, next quarter at some random random juncture. Curious about this story, though. I mean, it was cool. It was very spacey.
Yes, it was. Very
sci-fi. Especially the panel where the Green Lantern, you get the side shot of him, and she's standing there, and there's the moons and the planets and the stars in the background. That one's super sci-fi looking.
Yes, the contrasting colors too.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I was curious though about is, well, not that we'll get a chance to, but I think it'd be very interesting to see the progression of these. Like, in other words, take a page, show me the pencils, then show me the inks, then show me the colors. Like, I want to see what these all look like, because there's some times where it looks like things are only separated by colors as opposed to pencils or inks. And in on the first page where you see the her laying on the ground, she's saying no, stop it, you know, and you see the green meteor or whatever,
Right.
against the sky. That looks like it's just separated by maybe pencils or and not inks. That's just color separation. You know, stuff like that. I would be very interested to see what was there on the page when it was penciled, and what was there when it was inked, and what did the colorist do? You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially the very last page where you see it's very. I don't really see any inks on her there. That looks like just color.
Yeah, it does. It's very raw.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so. That maybe that's why it looks so strange.
Yeah. So I'd just be curious to know what's going on there, and what the originals look like. But otherwise, the story is pretty cool. A lot of I'm not a big fan of the art. I mean, I don't dislike it by any means. There's a lot of really cool things being done with it. It's done very well. But the layouts are more what I think is cool. Like, for instance, when her planet explodes, and her face with the stars, and her planet's above her, and like just the way that looks. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes.
That looks really cool. So I give the art credit because clearly the artist knows what's going on, what they're doing, and it's done very well. It's just not done in a style I particularly like. So, but that one page that you were talking about with the fire in the background, that does look really cool.
Yes. So it was a good story. I thought, so for the most part, the stories in this annual well, it's not really a one shot, but this quarterly was pretty good.
Yeah.
Were pretty good, I should say.
I definitely enjoyed it, and we didn't talk much about it, but the cover. What do you think of the cover?
I know, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I thought we were going to talk about the cover. I like the side panel when they kind of tell you what's in this issue, because I've always been. That goes kind of back to my roots when I was a kid. They used to do that all the time, especially in bigger issues. They kind of tell you what's inside on the left-hand side. I like the Jack T. Chance. That's the main cover shot about meeting Jack T. Chance, the baddest GL of them all. So I do like that. Of course, I like the contrast with the green and the yellow. Nordoff, I like that, his button on Jack T. Chance's jacket. Nordoff. Yeah, I thought the artwork on the cover was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. It's very good.
And this was from June of '92.
Yeah.
This
64 pages. And what was the cover price? $250.
$250.
Yep.
I know it is always funny when you go back and you look at issues, even if it's only like a 2 or 3 year span, especially in the '80s when the prices really started skyrocketing quickly. That you can. Like, oh, it's like 60 cents, and then like two years later, it's like, oh, $1. It's like oh, as opposed to back in the glory days when you even when I was a kid, when you could just go to if you had like $5, you could come home with a whole crap load of comics. Not anymore. You probably couldn't even come back with 2. You might be able to come back with 2, maybe.
I really like it. This maybe not so much the actual the contents of the stories were not bad at all. I just think what I really enjoy is this quote unquote breath of fresh air in terms of Green Lantern comics. Like this is good stuff. This is like kind of I mean I know these storylines will be continuing, but almost one shot stories featuring random GLs. That's awesome. I like that.
Yes. Yeah, it is a different feel, and in a way, it's kind of a good time to be able to go back and reread some of these and appreciate them, even if they were somewhat, I think, appreciated at the time, but I think we definitely can appreciate now, going back and seeing them all again, and especially even since with some of these characters, we kind of know how things have kind of turned out for them.
Yeah.
You know, like Jack in particular. You know, Jack T. Chance hasn't exactly had He had an ever so brief run as a relevant Green Lantern, and then after that, he kind of like, not only was he missing in action, it's just the fact that even when he was brought back, you know, he didn't really, his fate didn't turn out that great.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to say before we wrap up this episode is for those listeners out there who are curious, yes, we will only be covering Green Lantern Corps quarterly. Like for instance, I'm looking at number 2 right now, and there's one that I will just say involves this story involves Evil Star, and it says see Green Lantern 28. So clearly these Green Lantern Corps quarterly issues, in terms of current stuff that's happening in the comics, are placed very carefully in between issues of the comics. So it's almost, there are certain stories in here being treated almost like an extra issue or an annual kind of a thing. We're not covering that for Green Lantern Corps quarterly. So I apologize. I'm sure this show has been going forever, so I'm sure we'll be getting to these stories at some point, and we can reference what happens later on. But as far as the quarterly show, I guess we could do a little bit of history, like kind of like we did with the JSA character, like the Ian guy.
Yeah.
Like we could maybe look into it a little bit before we cover the issue and say here's generally what's kind of going on in the comics at this point. But otherwise, I mean, it seems. I just think it's a fun idea to do the quarterly.
And plus, also in the issues themselves, I think besides trying to fit them in so they, from a continuity point of view, where it's clear to current readers, I think it's also probably not so subtle. They're also trying to they're trying to increase or maybe get more of an interest in some of the things that are going on in the main books. Because don't forget, at this point, technically, other than now, this is when they were getting the most Green Lantern books they kind of had going at one time. Because they had, Mosaic is clearly starting up. They reference that, so they're kind of pushing Mosaic on one level. They have Guy Gardner at #1, which is just about to come out, so they're pushing that. And we have the Green Lantern Quarterly, which just started with this issue. So this is, other than the status quo we've been used to in the last 4 or 5 years, this is certainly the only other time when Green Lanterns had that many books going on a regular basis. So again, it's kind of their way, without having a true crossover in every single a Green Lantern wide crossover. This is kind of their way of cross pollination, if you will, too. So which serves a good purpose.
Yeah.
Even if there's only one story you're interested in, or if you're not interested in Alan Scott necessarily, but you're interested in reading about the Corps or vice versa, maybe there's something that happens in this issue that they're kind of promoting. It's going to be happening in another Green Lantern book that might make you, might increase your odds of being interested or going to purchase the issue to find out, especially the two new ongoings, the Mosaic and Guy Gardner #1. So it was fun. It was a fun read.
Just wait till you get to number 2. All right, guys. So next quarter, at some point, some random interval, we'll be doing another one of these. I don't know if we've discussed what we're doing on the next regular episode. Well, this is an episode of the LanternCast.
Yes, but
yeah,
I know, and they know what you mean.
All right.
I don't think we know what we're doing on the next episode yet. I think it depends. It really comes down to.
Well, we got some spin-offs to give us some time to think.
Yeah, we have things coming down the pike, and that's probably why it's harder, because we don't necessarily know when those things are going to be recorded and when the time frame is also, when the gap is going to be fit perfectly to record. So that I would say at this point, we're only a couple of weeks away from having all of February's books out. So we know that'll be coming soon. Another thing, and I was going to mention this off air because you don't have to commit to it one way or the other, but I was thinking that maybe at some point in the near future we could revisit the Emerald Knights thing and maybe do our commentary track for that. Just because I was thinking about that DVD the other day.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So that's something I'll just have to watch it one time first, just to get myself a little more up to snuff on the.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with that. The only problem I have though would be finding time for the my roommates to not be in the kitchen and doing a whole bunch of crap. So.
That's true.
So, all right, guys, we'll talk to you next time. Mark, you want to do the closing?
Sure, I will do the closing. If you want to contact us, email us, LanternCast@gmail.com. LanternCast@gmail.com. Of course, you can visit our website, LanternCast.com. There you can get our Ringcyclopedia episodes. You can also, if you're not available for some reason to get them on iTunes or Stitcher on a regular basis, or just can't access it that particular day. You can always get our latest episodes by going to our website too. You can, of course, listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher, and if you like us there, please leave us a positive review. And I'm winging this because I actually don't have my normal document in front of me. So I was like, no, it's not that part. That part's easy. It's the phone number. It's like, if you want to contact us, 708 Lantern, correct?
That's right.
708 Lantern, and let us know what you think.
That's right.
At least I got it memorized after all this.
And thanks for participating in the live tweet, guys. For those of you who did that are listening, and I will just read out a couple names real quick. Joseph, Jim, Jesse. Oh, Jay's in here. Joseph, Jim, Jesse, Mark, of course, was in there a little bit. And there was one other. Andy. Duh. And Scott was in there for a little bit, too. So thanks, guys, for participating in that. I'm still doing it right now, though I'm kind of backpedaling. But it's not going to matter as you guys listen to this. So forget it. We'll do another one of these at some point, I'm sure. It was kind of fun. So I'll talk to you. We'll talk to you guys later.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.